Is the RTX 5060 powerful enough to deliver a pleasant experience in Borderlands 4 at 1080p and 1440p resolutions? Let's find out. Let's start with 1080p experience, maxed out graphics, no resolution upscaling, no frame generation for now, but we'll take a look at optimized settings later on as well. I was just curious how the 8GB RTX 5060 will handle this graphics configuration, because I know for a fact that even at 1080p maxed out settings, you need at least a 10GB graphics card to run this game properly without any issues. And indeed, we can see that the shared memory is very high, which means that a lot of assets from video memory are spilling over into DRAM, and that is not good. Well, not that I expect this GPU to actually be able to run this preset anyway. Even if it had like 12GB of memory, I don't think we would see like 60 FPS or something like that. That's just not happening. I think we should go ahead and lower the graphics settings to high right away. No messing around. Even on the high graphics quality preset, the shared memory is still higher than it should be. It should be closer to 0, ideally. Interesting. Even this graphics quality preset requires a lot of VRAM. And the performance is still pretty bad. It's not absolutely horrible, but 40-ish FPS is not the kind of experience that I want out of a game like this. Fast-paced, shooter, looter. I want at least 60 FPS, let's be reasonable. For a mainstream PC, in a AAA title, 60 FPS is still a reasonable frame rate to expect out of a 60 class GPU, the latest one at that. Let's take a look at the medium preset next. Alright, that's what our shared memory should look like. Closer to 0, that means that we are within our 8GB budget that this graphics card has. Yeah, finally, enough memory on the medium graphics quality preset. Although in any other game, this preset would have been called low, and the one below that very low. And yeah, you can see that in the visuals. Visually, it is much worse than it was on very high or high. We've sacrificed a lot of visual eye candy, which isn't nice. For an RTX 5060, this is not a good 1080p experience. It's just not worth it. Visually, we're getting those stutters as per usual. It doesn't matter which GPU or CPU you're using, you'll get those stutters anyway. So there's that. There's no escaping that. The FPS is close to 60, but not quite 60. It's more of a 50 plus FPS experience. But I think we could actually cheat a little bit and get a nicer, smoother experience if we enable frame generation here. Let's start with the 2x, okay? I don't normally like using frame generation myself when I'm playing games, but in this particular game it's a must, basically, because yeah, the stutters are so bad. The only way to somewhat enjoy this game without too much stuttering is to actually use frame generation. I don't know why, but it is a smoother experience. So if you haven't tried frame generation yet and you are sick of those stutters, then give it a go. You might like it. And it actually looks decent visually in this game. This isn't what I would actually do in this game realistically. To get a good experience, this is purely for science. Let's disable frame generation, keep resolution on full, so native AA, and lower the graphics to low. I just want to see, is it possible to get a 60 plus FPS at native 1080p in this game? Or do you absolutely have to use frame generation and resolution upscaling to get there? Wow, the game really stopped looking good. It is a different game visually on the lowest graphics setting. But at least now we're getting well above 60 FPS consistently, so let's see. Is it gonna hold? We'll enter combat here and see what happens. Is that gonna be enough? Yeah, looks like it. 60 plus. But we're getting really close to that 60 FPS. Yeah. 1% lows are not great either. 40 plus. That's because of those stutters that are happening over and over and over again. You see those spikes? And you can feel every one of those spikes when you're fighting your enemies. It's just not a pleasant experience with those frame rate spikes. Some people say, oh, if you don't look at those graphs, then you don't notice it. I don't know, maybe you don't, but I do. Especially when there's so many stutters like that, it's really noticeable. The high graphics quality preset is like the last one that looks decent, I would say, especially for a graphics card like this one here. This is what I would expect to use at native resolution, but as we've seen, at native it's not happening, so let's try DLSS quality. Okay, we might be over our VRAM budget once more, because that shared memory value is a little bit too high. Yeah, it's definitely too high. But the FPS is staying at around 60-ish, so that's not too bad, I guess. Oh, big guy. Let's go. Get wrecked. Oh, another big guy. No, no. Stay away. Yeah, sometimes we see dips below 60. So this is not ideal. And this is not the kind of graphics preset where you can actually enable frame generation to make it smoother, purely because we don't have the VRAM budget for that. Frame generation requires additional video memory to run. It doesn't hurt to try though, so let's enable frame generation. Okay, the frame rate is higher and the game feels smoother. So for now, it's fine. But our shared memory climbed higher. I can't guarantee that we won't run into any significant issues if we play the game for a prolonged period of time, because having low memory is never good. I don't know exactly how this game handles it. Some games drop performance, other games drop visual quality of textures to like very low, even though you selected higher values. So, yeah, various things can happen. The game developer has posted official optimized settings, so let's try them for the RTX 5060. Alright, the official optimized settings go like this. A lot of them are on medium or on low. So, yeah, that does not look good right off the bat. But at least the texture quality is on high, and geometry on high, as well as draw distance, that's set to far as well, that's maximum. And they recommend us use frame generation 4x mode, as well as upscaling DLSS quality. Okay, the FPS is indeed very high. Fluid motion, beautiful. But the visual experience, of course, is nowhere near perfect, because a lot of things are set to the lowest quality. I don't know. Is this the way they see us playing this game? On an RTX 5060? I'm not convinced that this is the way. This doesn't look good. Don't get me wrong, this is absolutely playable, and you could enjoy the game like this. But if you've seen it on the max settings or very high settings, you'd be like, damn, I want that. Why can't I have that? And yeah, it doesn't even have hardware ray tracing, this game. And it's so demanding. But at least I'm happy to report that even with the 4x frame generation enabled, the controls responsiveness is very good. I could fight any synthetics any day. I aim exactly where I want. There we go. Hit, miss, hit. Yeah, so this is good enough, I would say. You see, headshots. Another one, another one. Oh, that's a very tough enemy. We need a different weapon for that. I do have something nice. There we go. Have some of that. And he's gone, like that. Quickly. I'm curious, what does the FPS look like without frame generation on this optimized settings configuration that is endorsed by the game developer directly? It's basically a 60 plus FPS experience. That's what it is. Because it's 70 plus now, it's dropping to high 60s, but in most demanding scenes, it will definitely drop to around 60-ish. At least in terms of performance, this looks good. Oh my god, look at that big boy. Yeah, this gun, it rocks. So good. So effective. Let's just get rid of all of these guys. So much loot. I need it. Conclusion for 1080p experience. Yeah, I don't know. You can enjoy the game, but it's gonna have to be on like very low settings. Don't count on enjoying high graphics quality. This graphics card is not the one if you want to enjoy Borderlands 4. Let's move on to 1440p resolution. I'm using a 27-inch 1440p monitor, 360Hz QD OLED by MSI. Oh, I still need to change the resolution. It did not apply for some reason. Let's fix that real quick. There we go, 1440p. Alright, where were we? You've seen how it went at 1080p, so don't expect 1440p to, you know, be playable on the highest levels of graphics. I think let's check out the high graphics quality preset, DLSS quality mode right away. No messing around with native 1440p because it's just beyond the capabilities of the 5060, primarily because of the video memory capacity limitations. The game developer recommends using graphics settings that are much lower than this and the DLSS balanced mode, not quality. So yeah, it is no surprise that we are running out of video memory and assets are spilling over into DRAM instead. Take a look at that shared memory. That is quite high. That number should not be as high as that. Ideally, it should be close to 0. Maybe it will be better if we use DLSS balanced. Let's check. Not really. It hasn't made a massive difference. Our VRAM usage is still very high, which could be actually affecting the performance. Oh, stutters. Yeah, the game seems to be more unstable than usual. It's just slightly more stuttering. Or maybe it's just because I changed the graphic settings and shaders are loading again. Unfortunately, shader compilation doesn't load all the shaders for some reason. Other shaders are just loading as you traverse the map, which isn't a good experience. I don't know why they do that. I'd rather sit through a longer shader compilation process than experience the game with stuttering. Would you rather sit longer and wait for the game to load all the shaders or experience stutters? I'm genuinely curious to hear your opinion on the matter. Right, let's keep DLSS unbalanced and use the medium graphics quality preset. Okay, this appears to be a more acceptable level of performance, and our shared memory is closer to 0, which is what we want to see. It means that we actually have enough video memory to use this graphics settings configuration. Although that stuttering, it's getting worse. So I don't know what's happening in this game, but anytime you go higher in terms of FPS at native frame rate without frame generation, it just starts stuttering like crazy. It's not completely unusable, but it's definitely not pleasant. So the game almost incentivizes you to actually keep it below 60 FPS or use frame generation, because with frame generation enabled, the experience is much smoother. In terms of visuals, this experience is much better than what we had at 1080p. Even though we're using DLSS balanced mode on a 1440p monitor, because this is a 1440p display and DLSS 4 is actually quite good in terms of upscaling quality, this experience is pretty good. The image looks decent, I would say. Of course, I'd prefer using DLSS quality mode on this screen for the maximum visual fidelity, but this is pretty good as well, especially considering that we are on the RTX 5060, just a mainstream GPU with 8 GB of memory. From here we can start using frame generation. Let's check out the 2x frame gen first, and then we'll move on to the 4x. Yes, this feels good. 100 plus FPS. Just a PSA, frame generation is not a performance boosting feature, it's a frame smoothing feature. And we're getting dips to around 90, 80 FPS even with frame generation enabled. Yeah, something is definitely not right. We could be actually running out of video memory, which lowers the generated frames output. Either that, or we're just rendering fewer real frames, and yeah, either way, it's not an ideal experience. Definitely needs some work. Either optimization from the game developer or, you know, lowering some quality. The 1440p graphics settings optimization guide says that we have to lower some of these graphic settings quite significantly. Alright, let's do it. Yo, this is actually ridiculous. They're asking us to lower everything to the absolute lowest. Even the draw distance is absolute minimum, which I expect to be like kind of horrific looking, but we'll check it out. DLSS is unbalanced, and they are also recommending frame generation 4x, but I just want to see like what the real FPS is like, and then we'll check out frame generation. The video memory usage is good, the FPS is good, but damn, this looks horrible. Visually, the graphics look absolutely horrendous. Oh my god, that draw distance really messes up the experience. And the landscape is barren. There's no grass, only over there, some grass. But yeah, the game visually looks completely different. So all of that art style, a lot of work went into it. It is completely gone. At this point, I'd rather play Borderlands 2. That looks more beautiful than this, I think. Although I haven't seen it for a long while already. So, I don't know. My memory might be rusty, but surely it can't be worse than this. At least in that game, we can max everything out and have a good experience, have the draw distance nice and far. Over here, it's a struggle. Not good. Not pleasant. Alright, let's enable frame gen, as they suggest, the 4x mode. Let's go. Yeah, close to 200 FPS, nice and high. The frame rate is smooth enough to actually enjoy the game without too many stutters. There's still some, but once you enable frame generation, the game works much smoother. Let's see, let's fight these guys. Boom. Yeah. Let me switch over to my sniper weapon, doing some headshots. Yeah. Nice and responsive. The mouse movements are precise. Oh, I'm drowning. There we go. Okay. It is a playable experience, but visually it is horrible. I don't like it. Especially after having played this game on higher levels of graphics quality. Yeah, this experience is definitely something else, and not in a good way. Okay, what have we learned here today? Basically, if you have an RTX 5060 and you want to play this game on a 1440p monitor, then yes, it is playable, but you'll have to put up with doo-doo graphics, and you'll have to use upscaling, balanced mode, and frame generation. Well, that said, frame generation, it is advisable by me even for basically any graphics settings configuration, because it makes those stutters more bearable. At least the game feels smoother. But yeah, at 1080p, even at 1080p, this graphics card works like crap in this game. You have to lower the graphics settings way down, and even then the game developer advises us to use resolution upscaling quality mode. Come on, no 1080p native anymore, even for the RTX 5060. Ridiculous. Let me know what do you think about all this, and if you enjoyed the video, if you found it helpful, don't forget to reward my work with a like. It helps out a lot, and I really appreciate it. If you're interested in any of the products featured in this video, you can find them on Amazon, and the links in the description below. Furthermore, subscribe for more videos like this if you haven't already. It was I, Vadim. Until next time.